Reactor Building – здание ядерного реактора. Reactor building usually refers to a structure containing nuclear reactor. It also may refer to a pressure-sealed buildings, so that it's more correct to say containment buildings, though most of modern reactors are housed in containment structures or containment buildings. Not all are. The Soviet RBMK reactor were not placed in containment building that increased severity of Chernobyl accident on the 26th of April 1986. Turbine building, Marshall. Turbine hall, generating hall, or turbine buildings are the name of building or room in the steam cycle power plant that houses components vital for production of electricity that comes from the steam generator. The key components of the turbine hall are turbines and power generators, and in case of steam cycle power plant, there are moisture separators and reheaters. Emergency Power Diesel Building – аварийное дизельное здание. Emergency Power Diesel Building is a room or building that contain emergency diesel generators, which are used to supply electricity for a nuclear power plant if it's not connected to the grid. They are mainly used to supply electricity to the key components of the nuclear power plant, such as cooling systems, to provide safe shutdown of the reactor in case of emergency and lack of electricity supply. Spent fuel storage pool – бассейн выдержки топлива. Spent fuel storage pool or pond in UK tradition are storage pools for spent fuel from nuclear reactors. They are typically 12 meters deep and have storage racks to hold spent fuel assemblies in it. A reactor's pool is specially designed for the reactor which uses the fuel and is located on the site of the reactor. They are used for immediate cooling spent fuel rods, so that fast-living radioisotopes from the spent fuel rods could decay and thus minimize the ionizing radiation emanating from the rods. Water intake structures – водозаборные сооружения. Water intake structures are used to collect water from surface sources like river, lake, or reservoir and convey it further to water treatment plant. Water intake structures are masonry or concrete structures that provide relatively clean water free of pollution, sand, or floating material to the facility. Chimney or ventilation stack, вентиляционная труба. Chimney is a part of special ventilation system for the reactor or special buildings aimed to remove excessive heat and moisture to keep operational conditions for the equipment and service staff during the repair or refueling works or during the reactor outage. Passing through the filtering plant, the air comes to chimney clean, so it doesn't pollute the atmosphere. Switchgear Building – здание распределительного устройства. Switchgear Building, relevant to control and guidance, houses all switchgear and modules that supply various systems involved with electrical power. The control of switchgear power system refers in measuring electrical load in the system. It helps to de-energize or energize element of a system or a single piece of equipment. Control room – щит управления. The term control room refers to the entire man-machine interface for nuclear power plants and include main control rooms, backups control room, emergency control rooms, local panels, technical support centers, operating staff, operating procedures and training programs, and communications. Cooling tower – градирня. Cooling tower is a heat exchanger inside of which the heat is withdrawn from the water by the contact of the water and the air. The heat transfer occurs through the heat exchange between the water and the air and through evaporation of small part of the water that needs to be cooled. Cooling tower pump buildings – здание насосов градирен. Cooling tower pump buildings are buildings where cooling tower pumps are located. These pumps are used to supply heat exchangers with the cooling water. Their flow rate depends on the heat flow to be dissipated. The distinction is made between wet cooling and dry cooling processes.